So hello and welcome to the deep space of Ars Electronica Center here in Linz. Welcome to our press and media information about the most important thing in the world, this year's festival, Ars Electronica. The insiders might know it's 47 years ago now since Ars Electronica started here in Linz, and from the very beginning it was called Festival for Art, Technology and Society. And I think more than ever this year, the festival with its theme is packed full with super highly relevant aspects and topics that are specifically relating these transformations of our society, of our culture, the always new world that we humans consider ourselves to be just right now in the moment. And art, of course, is a wonderful navigator, a guide, something that helps us to orient, but something that helps us also to grapple with the things. This is what we are going to do this year, and we are doing it in a spectacular way because Ars Electronica is back in the city, from post city to the real city, mingling with all the people, the locations and the institutions and the artists from Linz and from all over the world. But what this means will now already tell you Veronika Liebl, the managing director of our festival. Please.
Veronika will actually turn the whole festival. And after the years in Post City, we are unfolding across 40 different locations in 3 main hubs in the very city center of Linz. The 3 hubs are the Ogawa Quarter, the JKU Med Campus, and the Danube Triangle. You can already purchase tickets online, but also during the 5 festival days, then really in the Ogawa Quarter on the Ogawa Platz, right next to the Ogawa Center, which many of you remember also from previous years and previous festival editions. This is our recommended starting point of the festival. So here you can find our info desk, you can pick up your artist and guest passes, you can buy tickets, you can also start guided tours through the festival walk, which we will dive into a bit later today. We also have all our conference and workshop programs there, and particular many of our networking events also for professional audiences. So this is our recommended starting point of the festival, but don't worry if you want to start anywhere else, also in the other 2 hubs, maybe we also have info desks there. So at the Danube Triangle, you find the info desk in this place, so directly next to the Art University building. And there is also an info desk prepared for you at the Med Campus. So wherever you have questions in any of our 3 festival hubs, our team will welcome you there. What is happening in these hubs? So we will guide you in the next hour through the main program points, and Gerfried will start this round with an insights into events, concerts, and performances.
Yes, that's. I mean, you see, it's really an amazing maze of places, locations, and the great thing is that each location, of course, brings new characteristics. It changes the way how the festival works, it changes the way how you will encounter the artists. But not only many spaces, really a huge lineup of program, and it starts already, I would say it's a tradition already, the day before the official opening, the pre-opening walk. This is this very special opportunity before it's getting really crowded here in Linz at the festival to walk around with us, with our team of curators, meet many of the artists, walk through the main exhibition hubs. We are starting at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, so make sure you are already here in Linz, and I won't bother to read all the different locations, but we are going through the city. It's a wonderful first opportunity not only to see the major exhibitions, but also to dive into the spirit of the festival. And loaded with all this excitement, we will end up here in the Ars Electronica Center this year for a super special occasion, because you might know, it's 30 years already since the very opening of this Ars Electronica Center. It was in September 1996 when we opened our doors. It was fantastic, it was spectacular. It's long ago, looking back to the type of technology that we had at this time, looking back to the kind of problems that we had seen in the development of this technology, and of course also the opportunities. This is really a wonderful area of considerations that this festival will provide, but it is also a reason to celebrate. So Tuesday evening, big birthday party here in the Ars Electronica Center with lots of interesting programs, concerts, and of course a birthday cake. But don't get too excited. You need to save your energies because already on Wednesday, the line of events and concerts is continuing with our spectacular opening. Again, in front of the huge cathedral in Linz and inside in this wonderful acoustic space of the cathedral, we have a perfect lineup again with highlights like the Bruckner Orchester Linz, again conducted by Markus Boschner himself. We have a wonderful vocal choir, and we have for the first time also Dance Linz, the dance company from our Musiktheater here in Linz, performing already a kind of preview to one of their new productions. Then we go on. It's not on my list, but I have to mention it just for the days. On Thursday evening, of course, we have the award ceremony, another important event for our festival. And on Friday, we go on with the big concert night. This year, it will be in a completely different environment. I think for many, many years, 1999, we have been for the last time at Posthof, not Post City. Don't get it wrong. Posthof is this wonderful event space down in the harbor area where we have 3 locations, the big hall, the medium hall, the small hall. All of them will perform a sequence of really exciting projects. Brigitta Muntendorf's Orbit is the main event in the big hall. We have in parallel Makina Mikama playing a wonderful suite, one could say, that she put together with different pieces of her most favorite composer, Philip Glass. So it's really a wonderful kind of comparison dialogue between the very heavy and strong topic of Orbit from Brigitta Muntendorf and of Makina Mikawa's music. There is a lot more to say how this is going on with limited number of people, but you will find this in detail anyway then in our programs. And again, as usual, Friday night is the long night, not only the big concert night, but also the nightline. There is a wonderful lineup of club culture from Switzerland and Netherlands coming together, also maybe competing a little bit, but this will be definitely one of the evenings also to do a great socializing, as will be Saturday evening. And we are getting already close to the end of the festival, but Saturday evening is the Futurelab night, something that has been established as a fixed star in the program of every festival. And also the Futurelab this year, of course, celebrates 30 years of its existence. It was 1996. The Futurelab was put together by people, artists, engineers, technicians, various people from many countries to set up the first exhibitions of the Ars Electronica Center. But they won't, take a long time to looking melancholy into the history. They are putting up a lot of new programs. There is a new exhibition that we will hear about later. And this is, of course, the really wonderful evening in Saturday evening. And I just recognize I gave you some troubles because, of course, before we go to the Saturday evening Futurelab night, we go to Sonic Saturday. This is really one of my favorite programs. It's since many years that the local music university, the Anton Bruckner Privatuniversität, is putting together a really high-level, sophisticated program of digital music, of contemporary music and compositions that deal with the latest possibilities of technology. And of course, you can guess there will be a lot of AI in these programs as well. And with this, I made my first marathon through all the events of this year's festival, and I hand over the baton to Christl.
Gerfried. I have the big honor of introducing the Oka hub, the Oka quarter, built around the Oka Square as the central hub for welcoming our audiences, but especially also as the central hub for our professional audiences. From here, exhibitions will start, conferences will take place, as well as workshops and networking programs. And we have a new format in there. But before I start with that, I want to introduce the theme exhibition this year, which actually takes place in 3 different venues, as well as with 3 different thematic approaches. One of them takes place in the Lentos Art Museum around the topic of negotiating humanity. The second one takes place in the attics of the Ursulinenhof. I'll come later to that. And this new invention of this year is called the Festival Walk. Gerfried and Veronika mentioned it. We're taking you into the city. We're taking you into venues that many of you, whether local or international, might not yet have experienced or even seen. This is our commitment to the city of also bringing and creating access to communities that might not yet have been part of it. We will start the festival walk at the Oka Square. We'll lead to 8 very individual locations, such as the Priester Seminar and its church. Will lead to the Elisabethinen, a hospital, as well as a multi-generational residential area connected to that. We'll go, however, also to the Francisco Carolinum, back to the Fradinger School, and then across the street to the Bechstein Piano Center, as well as then into the Catholic Private University of Linz. Now I only mentioned the institutions, and you already see that most of those ones are not forcefully cultural institutions per se, but they all have a responsibility, their individual role within our society, bringing along communities that are connected to them. We, however, will not only present works inside these institutions, we will bring you into the streets, we'll surprise you with works along the way, and have you see the city through completely new eyes. Part of the festival walk are 39 projects that you're going to experiment. And it all develops around the topic called negotiating the real, the desire to believe, that claims the truth and system our beliefs are constructed in our world through political and, of course, institutional powers, many of those institutions that we have represented in the walk. For example, at the Catholic University, we see Wicked Mirror by Andrea Revsgard and Sophia Burger-Thorsen from the Institute for Wicked Problem. It is actually a direct clone of yourself, a face as well as your voice clone, and it will argue the opposite perspective of your own thematics that you bring into it. At the Seminary Church, we present you the work of non-Mediengruppe Bitnik called Gwen Stefani against tech fascism. And it places a virtual influencer directly into the center of spiritual and also digital forms of influence. It looks at algorithmic control and tech authoritarian structures. And especially it provides a sabotage act. The Simple Sabotage Field Manual is an anti-fascistic handbook from the Second World War that, however, in 2025, after Donald Trump again came into power, was downloaded within the US government as much as never before. In the Fradinger School, we'll present the work from Itmar Goff, The Rhinoceros in the Room, or A Tale of Banality and Evil. You'll be welcomed by a gigantic rhinoceros hand soon, but it links thematically to the play by Eugene Ionesco from 1959, which actually shows us of how transformations in our society, and it has been inspired by the writer's own experience in Romania, where he saw how French intellectuals, despite better knowing, joined the fascist regime not by force, but by conviction and the simple fact that they want to belong. In the play, inhabitants of a small town transform themselves into rhinoceros, and accepting the violence that transformation comes along with. So how do authoritarian worldviews slowly become accepted within our regular society through collective narratives? That's the big question that the work asks. In the Ursulinen Attics, we are continuing with the third part of the theme exhibition, Negotiating Beyond Humanity, asking of what does it take or what changes when we're not putting the human at the center. But when we start recognizing other living beings and entities on our planet, such as soil organisms, insects, but also rivers, water, and forest trees, and see them as active participants of our ecosystem. Olfactory biome by Maki Ueda allows visitor to transform into bats and moths by taking on the smells of these creatures and corresponding in the air within the exhibition space, either by attracting or repelling those ones. Another exhibition is dedicated actually to the large platform, the network that Ars Electronica has built within the last decades and brings institutions from all around the world by asking them to take on the festival theme and to develop individual artistic and research-based programs around that. The Ars Electronica Features exhibition this year takes place also in multiple locations, but especially will be presented in the Francisco Carolinum in the second floor, as well as in the Ars Electronica Center in the Damen- und Herrenstraße 5. This year, 16 institutions joined our invitation to come to Linz, such as the National Asian Cultural Center from Guangzhou, South Korea, the Processing Foundation from New York, as well as this Barcelona Supercomputing Center. The OK Square, the OK Quarter, is also the place for conferences. Our 5 days festival thematic symposium looking at various topics around negotiating humanity will take place in the Ursulinen Saal. On Wednesday, we will start with negotiating reality, culture, conflict, AI, and democracy in the digital public sphere. We have seen and probably even experienced that democracy needs spaces where different perspectives can come together, meet, and be discussed and negotiated. These encounters more and more take place also in digital spaces. However, these spaces are shaped by attention economy, algorithmic selection. And dissent can quickly turn into polarization, and disinformation becomes then a geopolitical tool. Ivan Krastev is one of Europe's most influential political thinkers, and he will open the conference with a question that then will run through the entire day. What happens to democracy when social conflicts are increasingly mediated through digital infrastructures? How does the public sphere of conditions under which these negotiations take place change, and how are they even possible at all? Jessica Arko is a Finnish investigative journalist and one of the world's leading experts on Russian disinformation operation. And she examines how disinformation is and became a geopolitical tool. And drawing on her own experience of actually having been targeted by coordinated disinformation campaigns, she knows how these systems work, and she advises democracies of how they can fight back without losing their own fundamental values. On Thursday, we will continue with a conference curated by Francesca Bria and José Luis de Vicente. It's called Contested Futures, looking at Europe, how it's negotiating power, machine, and labor, and especially tackle a central question: how does Europe shape its digital future, and who gets to decide that? Francesca Bria will trace reactionary ideologies, venture capital, and the arms industry, as well as governmental contract. How are they combining into something that she is calling the authoritarian stack? Private platforms that have quietly become state infrastructure. Europe cannot regulate its own way out of a dependency that it already has accepted. So what is needed then is an industrial strategy for democratic infrastructures. We also, of course, will not only look at the problem, we also try to find suggestions and new approaches towards those ones. This will be discussed in a panel discussion with Yaya Clara Brecke, Marina Otero-Versier, and in conversation with Julia Kläuber. They discuss the material footprint of AI, such as around data centers like the one that is currently built just close by to Linz. But how these data centers, for example, can become cooperative infrastructures that treat ecological limits as design and principles rather than an obstacle. We do not need less technology, but we need better reasons to build them. On Friday, we will continue with a conference under the title AI for Social Impact, Negotiating Humanity in Times of Crisis. This conference is developed in collaboration with CARE Austria and takes place against the backdrop of a growing armed conflicts around the world, displacement, rising inequality, and especially also more threatening climate crisis. The conference brings together practitioners, artists, as well as researchers that highlight initiatives that are already using AI to improve access to healthcare, to education, and to humanitarian services, and show that technology can support local capacities rather than replace them. At the same time, there is, of course, a threatening question when it comes to using AI tools that still these are guarded and owned by just a very few, and especially when it comes to building tools that actually are supposed to support the most vulnerable communities around our planet, it is especially necessary to look at which kind of technologies we're using. So the conference ends with a clear call to action for the humanitarian sector to not only adopt AI, but to actively shape its development and its governance. The afternoon of the same day is then dedicated to the topic of tech brotopia, a dystopian shift of politics, economics, and culture. Tech billionaires such as Elon Musk and Peter Thiel promise that through technology, societal progress happens, but their visions of the future are very anti-democratic, marked by deep inequalities and shaped by very specific ideas of masculinity. One of the speakers, Aya Jaff, has been formerly part of the startup world and just wrote a book called Broligarchy, where she shows how a small male tech elite uses innovation to cover a concentration of power, data extraction, and economic inequality. And the day closes then with a conversation between Douglas Rushkoff and Sarah Krische. While tech billionaires publicly celebrate their techno-optimism, they privately build bunkers, they try to upload their consciousness in the cloud, or even finding ways of leaving the planet, preparing for potential consequences of their own actions. This symposium takes place in cooperation with the Johannes Kepler University and the Institute for Gender Studies. The Saturday then is dedicated to the topic of patterns of dehumanization. Dehumanization rarely begins with violence. It begins very often with language, with images that we create, with everyday images. Anti-Semitism is one of the oldest patterns of this kind. And in digital spaces, it of course takes on a very new and accelerating form. Algorithms amplify outreach and hostility. Anti-Semitic narrations are spread globally and instantly. And old stereotypes reappear in new forms and digital shapes. The speakers of this day come from very different fields. Emanuel Witztum and Judy Najib jointly lead Feelbait, an Israeli-Palestinian cultural house in Jerusalem that has been bringing together Jews, Palestinians, secular as well as religious communities through art since 2019. Luc Bernard, on the other side, a British-French developer and the founder of Voices of the Forgotten, has dedicated his work to the question of how digital media can contribute to the Holocaust education. The game that he developed, The Light in the Darkness, tells the story of the Holocaust through the eyes of a Jewish family. He has also built a virtual Holocaust museum inside Fortnite that reaches millions of young people. Together, the speakers ask how patterns of dehumanization work and what art, culture, and their institutions can do to counter them. On the last day of the festival, on Sunday, we dedicate the conference to a resource that keeps us all alive. But water is more than a resource. It is a symptom of our socio-political presence and a witness to human history. And it sits, of course, at the center of the most pressing crisis of our day, such as the global freshwater crisis and the geopolitical conflicts over bodies of water as strategic spaces for trade and military control. Stefano Burki traces a legal conception of water that has changed over time from collective commons to state-regulated property to private commodities. And he raises the question of whether water could be understood as a global heritage of humanity, governed potentially by a supernatural authority. Rada de Souza is a scholar, a lawyer, an activist who shows how imperialism and colonialism has used laws as well as technologies as instruments to control water waves and people. And from that control, how these structure, of course, continue to shape our presence. And with that, don't forget that at the OK Quarter, at the OK Ursulinenhof, we will also have multiple workshops as well as networking events that welcome you. Please register for those ones. And with that, I hand over to my dear colleague, Veronika Liebl, Managing Director, who will introduce the next hub.
I will continue now with the second of our three hubs, with the OK Quarter. With the Danube Triangle, of course. And the Danube Triangle is predominantly, of course, the cultural mile across the Danube, but extended also to the main square of Linz. And within a couple of steps, you find the Lentos Art Museum, the Ars Electronica Center, of course, also the Stadtwerkstatt, the Atelier Salzamt, and the art universities, and also the Infodesk, be reminded, for this hub will be in one of the art university buildings. We'll start with one of the exhibition highlights in Danube Triangle, which is part of the theme exhibition this year. Under the title of Negotiating Humanity, we have prepared an exhibition with the prize-winning works of the Ars Electronica and the Starts Prize this year. 6 works which take completely different stances on the topic of humanity, also question very much how we take humanity for granted through the lens of geopolitics, of the climate crisis, the invisible power dynamics behind artificial intelligence or bodily perception. If you arrive at Lentos just even before entering to the building of the Lentos Art Museum, you will explore a performance by Japanese artist Shin Hanagata called Chimera. Here you will see a project performers actually transplanting their sense of sight from the head to the toes, equipped with head-mounted displays and cameras, questioning very much on our understanding of the body and what a body is even supposed to be. We have also, as part of this prize-winning exhibition, some of the biggest names in our field, including, for example, a project by Hito Steierl, Mechanica Kurtz, exploring the invisible chains of digital microwork and the politics also behind automated technology, and a forensic architecture whose cartographic investigation maps Israel's military conduct in Gaza since October 2023. We also have a beautiful project by Agnes Meyer-Brandis called Office for Tree Migration Following Trees on their pathway, on their migration way, also as climate refugees, and a couple of other projects for you. From the Lentos Art Museum, it's just a couple of steps then also towards the Art University buildings, directly located at the main square, where students ask what it even means to negotiate the future in uncertain times, which is particularly interesting and relevant, given also academic freedom is very much under pressure in these days, even when it was taken long for granted. And this is exactly what 45 universities from across the globe will discuss and question during the 5 days of the festival. We are bringing this immense scope of fantastic projects together at the 2 art university buildings with satellite locations also in the Domgasse and the Med Campus. The art university themselves will open, of course, all of their faculties, their institutes, again, with more than 80 projects. And we have international universities, of course, from the German-speaking areas, but also from around the globe, from Taiwan, Singapore, Korea, China, Japan, US, or Malaysia. So please really step by also at the main square to discover the campus program we're doing together with the Art University. Maybe one highlight recommendation here. So if you're interested very much in this program, there will be also a award ceremony. So from all the projects in the campus exhibition, 1 grand prize and 5 honorary mentions will be selected by an international jury, and we will celebrate and honor these projects on September 12th in the afternoon in Ogawa in the Ursulinen Saal. From the Art University, it's really only a couple of steps then over the Danube to the Ars Electronica Center. And this year we are currently preparing amazing new exhibitions for you. So you will find within the Ars Electronica Center not only 1 new exhibitions, but actually quite several new exhibitions. And we will guide you in the next minutes through this. One is led and developed by our Ars Electronica Futurelab. And for this, I would cordially invite also Managing Director Hideaki Ogawa to give us a bit of insight into Hello Worlds and Open Futurelab this year.
Thank you very much, Veronika. Hello, everyone, and hello, worlds. And we are very happy to announce this new launch of a new exhibition at Ars Electronica Center, -3 at the main gallery. This Hello Worlds is a new types of exhibition through the collaboration with Toyota Motor Corporation, advanced R&D and engineering company. So the theme is AI and future humanity. So who do we become? What kinds of being do we humans want to become? So in this exhibition, we have 3 zones of Hello Me, Hello You, and Hello Us. In the zone of Hello Me, you will encounter with a new vision of amplification of yourself. What if you can wear the AI? What if you augment AI into your body? So what are you choosing? So this amplification is allowing visitors to experience the new choice, new customization, personalization, and through the fashionable technologies. Then Hello You is inviting you to talk to coffee machine, copy machine, or animals. So in the age of AI, not only humans and the humans, but we might be able to get the new perspective through reversal, perspectives. After the Hello You, Hello Us is a place where people can gather, and also in this environment, you will see big weaving machine. But a weaving machine is not just old weaving machine, but together with LED big structure. So the environment in the exhibition, micro voices from visitors are gathered to generate the textile digitally. Then so the question is how, do we humans create a new resonance, solidarity, community those are becoming the topic. By the way, this exhibition is totally supported by Hello World system, so which is an AI exhibition. So visitors' behaviors and also, actions are also collaborated with AI to make a new values and so means in this environment, new environment of our society, how do we become more human? So I think that's gonna be the question about this new exhibition. So extending and after saying hello world, let's move to another highlight. So this is our new, Open Futurelab. After saying hello world, let's say hello futures. Open Futurelab is the name says open process, open laboratory setting, of our activities. So our laboratory is next to the Ars Electronica Center. So next to Hello World exhibition, you will see different types of artistic exploration together with our different types of partners. For instance, what if we can communicate with more than humans? What if data science and art can revitalize local area? Or what if we can envision the new architecture with data and AI? So, for instance, the final one was an artistic exploration with SAP. And so in the way, so you will see unique collaboration between our team and also different partners such as industry, academy, education. And so this program is showing our process. Please join us. And so after this full of insights for the future questions, I would like to also connect my question to solutions as well.
Ars Electronica solution is yet another reason why not to miss the Ars Electronica Center during the 5 festival days. And for this, I would ask Michael Mondria, Managing Director of Ars Electronica Solutions, to give us a bit of insight into the exhibitions you are currently planning.
Thank you, Ronnie. Yes, happy to introduce you briefly to our activities at this year's festival. So I want to start with a new permanent exhibition that will be as well located here in the Ars Electronica Center at -3 level, where you can explore what not just what we are doing, but as well looking behind the scenes, so how we are working, what are the ideas, what are the thoughts behind the hundreds of projects that we did in recent years. And you can do this with a very special tool, with a very special way, with our solutions agent, which gives you the possibility to get into a dialogue with solutions and to explore all these topics in a totally different way. So, for instance, you can talk to our tree. You see it here as an image. Light sculpture, high-level installation that we opened in March in the Gasometer in Oberhausen, and ask him how he feels, what is the content that he's showing currently, or what are the idea of this light sculpture behind. By the way, there are also guided tours that you can join to get a deeper insight into these topics. The second main focus is about the steadily growing deep space community. So we are opening in October 2 new locations, one in Boston in US and one in Oulu in Finland, the current cultural city of Europe. We're starting these activities on Friday in the morning. We have a session where we discuss with our international partners how an immersive space like deep space can become more than a technical infrastructure, really an added value to the city and the people live in. And in the afternoon, we start really the sessions in deep space, starting with at 3:30, I think, going to the evening, where we not just showing the new developments and possibilities and functionalities that we have developed for deep space, but as well showing the new ways and strategies that our partners are doing with the deep spaces behind. And last but not least, I want at Saturday we have our science experience sessions with our long-term partner ESA, the European Space Agency. We show as a topic one of the main goals of ESA. It's the health of Earth, or Earth health, and we show with ESA colleagues some aspects, new dimension and strategies, not just for Earth observation, but as well for planetary defense. So thank you very much, and see you at the festival.
Thank you, Michael. You mentioned now already several times also my keyword and the next highlight of the festival program, the deep space. What would be a Ars Electronica Festival program without highlights and 5 packed full days of deep space program? This year on the focus of living archives with a highlight day on September 12th, on the Saturday of the festival, but really running also throughout all 5 days of the festival. That focus explores archives not as a steady infrastructure, but really as some dynamic also system, exploring and questioning the dynamics of the past, the present, and the future, and how that intersects. One or a couple of highlights come from our long-lasting collaboration between Salzburg Festival and Ars Electronica, including also Faust VR, developed by our Ars Electronica Futurelab and premiered already a couple of years ago to mark the 150th birthday of Max Reinhardt. We will bring a new edition also back to deep space and give you insights into the monumental Faust city from the legendary 1933 production and the stage which was virtually reconstructed for you. We are also featuring a couple of programs which come out from our joint residency program, including a project called Merging Visions, a digital twin of the Salzburg Festival District. Residencies which got the privilege to really look into the Salzburg archive and work in a completely new way, also in a reinterpretation and new artistic expressions with the archival material of Salzburg Festival. But in addition, we have, of course, plenty more programs, including, for example, Interactive Brosch, which brings Clemens Brosch's unfinished late work, Red Dinosaurs, back into the public awareness, also here into the deep space with a new gigapixel reproduction. We have a joint presentation also by the Metropolitan Museum of Art and the Japanese broadcaster NHK on 120 years of the Met's imaging department and their new digitization initiative. You will also have really a fantastic opportunity, one I would not want to miss, on the first ever gigapixel image of Hieronymus Bosch Last Judgment triptych, which was developed in collaboration with the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna. And of course, throughout the days, you also have insights into many of our performances, many programs, including, for example, Unbreakable Ukraine, an application, a 3D application developed documenting 5 Ukrainian institutions that became symbols of resistance during the war. Definitely a place to pass by during the festival days. We'll also present some of the highlights of the expanded symposium here, but the symposium itself happens during the first 3 days of the festival, September 9th to September 11th in the Skyloft in Ars Electronica Center. The 3-day symposium is organized by the University of Applied Sciences Upper Austria Campus Hagenberg, together with us, of course, and is since a couple of years now really run as a full international peer-reviewed conference, also offering even a summer school in parallel to the festival. We are bringing here more than 60 international speakers together for 3 days to discuss the latest technological but also artistic trends in animation and interactive art. So one other highlight not to miss, and the conference expands in fact even into an exhibition presented at the Atelierhaus Salzamt just across the bridge, where they take again a stance on negotiating humanity through the medium of play, exploring also how humans and machines relate to one another. We then move back, so we are still in the OK Quarter, but we move back to the main square, which is really one of the epicenters, I have to say, of the OK Quarter, and our place also for everyone who wants to actively discuss, actively participate in negotiating humanity. Flood the Zone with Courage is our program, the one we started already last year on democratic negotiation. It's a collaboration project together with the Art University and the Johannes Kepler University, particularly the Circus of Knowledge, and this year also in collaboration with ATTAC Austria. And here we are really focusing very much on exploring, discussing, also arguing new types of societal progress, societal participation, democratic discourse together. Throughout the 5 festival days, you will find many different performances, all 7-minute interventions, performances, taking their own also approach on trying out new forms of protest as a performative act, maybe also as a very new, also unexpected way of encountering forms of societal participation and protest. Alongside this, there will be also an exhibition from the Art University. There will be workshops, for example, held by ATTAC on developing your own protest campaign and protest banners, but also a workshop equipping you with the argumentation format also in protest. We'll have workshops on democratic participation. We even have DJ sets and a highlight of a street theater / digital visualization performance by the domestic data streamers who won the Ars Electronica Award for Digital Humanity last year on Friday of the festival. That rounds up the second hub of the festival, and we are moving now to the third hub, the Med Campus, dedicated entirely to the symbiosis of art and science this year, featuring also many projects developed by the Johannes Kepler University, where we are hosted, particularly as they celebrate also their 60th anniversary this year. They are offering each year a call to their faculty, also to their students, where they can work then with renowned local and international artists from across the globe. And we will present the outcomes of this call during the festival days. For example, a project called Spilling the Tea from the Robot Psychology Lab and the Textile Robotics Lab, where visitors can actually wear a knitted exoskeleton glove in a very cozy tea saloon to explore also how wearable robotics change our agency, change our also sense really of the body. We also have a project called Radical Gaming, which is a game where you enter as a visitor into a setting of community, into a very strong sense of belonging, and gradually also understand the revealing darker mechanisms of peer pressure and radicalization behind it. As part of the art and science focus, we also have projects coming from the initiative together with Ludwig Boltzmann Gesellschaft, the Johannes Kepler University and us, specifically focusing on medicine through AI and arts. One of the projects, for example, puts a visitor in a conversation between a humanoid robot and a human specialist, all about care, also questioning who we trust really, whose authority we potentially also trust in a split conversation between machine probability and human experience. And one last highlight also from the specific medical focus at the Med Campus is an insight into the Kepler University Hospital. So there will be guided tours offering really insights into the research labs of the hospital. You can also visit the med space offering virtual anatomy provided by Professor Fellner, and many other of the research labs of the hospital will also provide insights into the research work. At the Med Campus, you will also find our Kids and Youngsters Festival, really actually questioning also the big topics of negotiating humanity, also in a way that they very much ask us to figure out first what we as a society, what we as humans and individuals want to be through open labs, through exhibitions, through events and many other programs. So actually an invitation to all generations. One of the absolute highlights of this year's Great New World is the Film City, developed together with the Academy of Austrian Film and Canon, where the courtyard of the Med Campus is actually really transformed into an open film studio. And everyone is invited to take whatever role they want to do in filmmaking, behind the scenes, in script writing or sound editing, in makeup or editing, but you can also really become a performer within this film city. You can actually, or you are guided and mentored by professional filmmakers, but you can, for example, also act in front of stage with professional artists supporting you also in creating and live editing your own little snippet. We will celebrate then the awarded filmmakers just one floor higher, also at JKU Med Campus, in the Ars Electronica animation art screening in Med Space, showcasing also outstanding works submitted to this year's Ars Electronica, particularly the animation category, with a wide range of animations, from very personal narratives to data visualization, also to very critical inquiries on AI, for example, on digital labor, on politics. Many of the filmmakers are here, so you have the chance really to meet them, also to engage in Q&As. We also have a Austrian panorama featuring Austrian filmmakers and the young animation selection coming out from the U19 competition of Ars Electronica. And what is new this year, we are not only showcasing outcomes in films from the animation category, but really from the wider Ars Electronica and other competitions of Ars Electronica. In fact, screening, for example, Data Workers Inquiry, led by Milagros Miceli, a participatory research initiative that puts the invisible workforce behind AI, from the data annotators to also content moderators across many different countries around the world, in charge of documenting their own work and labor conditions. Or Border Turner by artist and digital arts pioneer Rafael Lozano Hemmer, a searchlight installation also opening live channels of dialogue across the US-Mexican border. If you need some help in navigating through these programs, we have prepared a lot for you. Particularly, my big recommendation is the We Guide You program. So you can get an insight, a deeper insight also into many of the exhibitions we are planning on preparing currently for you through our We Guide You, particular, of course, the festival walk Christl mentioned. So here you can simply pass by the OK info desk and buy a ticket also on site. Of course, the tickets are already available also online. But new this year, we also have guided tours as part of We Guide You throughout many of the locations. For example, the Lentos exhibition. We have also plenty of guided tours available here in the Ars Electronica Center through the new exhibitions. Also guided tours at the Art University throughout the campus program, and on the Med campus also through the art and science focus. For everyone who does not want to participate or do not want to book a guided tour, we also have intro sessions. So in the 3 parts of the theme exhibition, you can simply pass by and there will be mediators also waiting for you, giving you an intro and the thematic contextualization into the exhibition so you can discover yourself. Given the scale of the festival program, we also prepared and launched this year our first ever festival planner, which is basically a digital helper for you, where you can find recommendations specifically also tailored to your interests. You can bookmark also the relevant programs and events, put your own schedule together. And what is particularly interesting for the festival days, you can also navigate here with a map through the city, particularly through the festival walk, but also through a couple of thematically curated tours throughout the 40 locations and the inner city center of Linz. It's free. You don't need to download. It's really browser-based. So that's my big recommendation for the next day, to dive into our festival planner and discover whatever interest comes around from your side for the festival. We have prepared from programs for families, for experts in the digital arts field, to people who simply love arts. Really plenty of programs, and we're sure you will discover throughout the next days and latest next week all the highlights of Ars Electronica. With that, I finally hand over to Gerfried once more.
My job is to thank you, and of course, first of all, thank you very much to Veronika, Christl, and a huge team of people that is working on this program. You see, the team is not only super strongly working on putting together this great program, but also to organize your festival experience. We have now a little bit more than 60 minutes for 6 days, so you can imagine how dense it is. And of course, another big thank you goes to all these institutions, people and partners who are supporting the Ars Electronica Festival, who make it possible that we can bring thousands of people to Linz to celebrate the power of art in times of uncertainty. And of course, in particular, the city of Linz, which is the main partner and the main financial supporter of Ars Electronica. If you have now any questions, come by next week. Thank you very much.